Hi, I'm Hazel. It's almost Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. Very light WoW news week this week. I think we're all pretty much just waiting for the playable Shadowlands alpha to drop eventually. Until then, we did get a couple of hotfixes this week. There were a bunch of them, but the ones that I was most excited about: Magister Umbric, the final boss of the Mage Quarter in the horrific Vision Stormwind, is now only going to do 2 of his Frosty Storms instead of 3. Similarly, Skitra in Nyalotha is only going to do 2 illusion phases down from 4, and then the Coalescing Vision Cap has been removed, the actual currency cap. So last week they took off the 5 limit for the vessels, but left the cap, and now they've taken the cap off. So you can have as many Coalescing Visions in your currency tab as you want. You don't have to worry about going back to town to buy them, so you don't overcap. You don't have to worry about just buying tons and tons of vessels and stuffing them into your bank. The vessels still don't stack, and now they don't need to, since you can just hang on to all of your Coalescing Visions as Coalescing Visions. But it would be funny if in a third step they then made the vision stack next week, so looking out for that one. In a blue post this week, Blizzard shared more details on what upgrading your cloak is going to look like after rank 15. It's going to be done with this thing called a Malefic Core, and you're going to be able to get 1 new rank of your cloak per week. So the way it's going to work is you can get a Malefic Core from either a full clear of a vision, all 4 bosses plus the end boss, but no mention of any masks required, or from a N'Zoth kill on normal difficulty or higher. So if you are at the cutting edge of cloak progression and you are as caught up as you can be, you're going to get 1 core from the first one of those 2 things you do, and then you're done for the week. But if you are not caught up, if your cloak is behind, you're on an alt or you've just skipped a few weeks, you'll be able to get both of those cores if you do both of those activities, a full clear and a N'Zoth kill. That's at least some form of catch up, which is nice. Keep in mind, those things will not come into play until you reach cloak rank 15. None of that has any effect on leveling your cloak below rank 15, which is where many of us, well, all of us still are. This is going to be kind of like a next week us thing. The thing I like about this is that once you are caught up in your cloak, you technically can quit horrific visions if you're otherwise done with them. You can just get your 1 N'Zoth kill in every week and then upgrade your cloak that way. And once we have our skip quests done, especially on normal difficulty as everybody gets more and more corruption, a real quick N'Zoth kill is probably, I guess it's not going to be faster than the full clear. Full clears get pretty easy once you get all of your research filled out in your Titan tree. So, it just depends on what you're up to. But if you were going to kill N'Zoth anyways, that just kind of scratches 1 extra thing off your list for the week. In real life headlines, the coronavirus outbreak has been dominating the news cycle and also having a significant impact on conventions and meetings and events. It's already specifically wreaked havoc with the Overwatch League. Many homestand events have been canceled. Some teams are stuck in and out of countries where they need to be. Without commenting on what the correct amount of concerned about it to be is, because there's lots and lots of debate on that, I am interested to see what kind of impact this is going to have on BlizzCon. Even if the spread of the virus lets up in the spring with the warmer weather, in that event, it's also possible that it comes back in the fall with the cooler weather and becomes a seasonal thing. And that would put it right on top of BlizzCon, and it's not likely that we have a vaccine by then. So if BlizzCon was not yet canceled, I am wondering whether or not that would do it, because I don't see Blizzard running the event if there was any question about whether or not it was going to be safe for everybody attending. We won't find out for a while. They don't typically announce BlizzCon until approximately April-ish, but I would not be surprised under circumstances to see it canceled or moved to kind of an online-only event. In my own WoW life recently, I have been taking not a break, but a little bit of a step back from the day-to-day of 8.3, just because it was all feeling a bit much. I don't know that it was a bit much, but just the headspace I'm in lately, it was feeling a bit much, so I'm not being too hard on myself if I don't get on to do dailies. I know I'm going to get my Shadow Barb drone eventually. I don't have to do it every day. We'll get there one day, and same thing with like the reputations and all that. My cloak is good enough for now, and we'll get more progress on it later. There's no rush. I highly suspect that 8.3 is going to be a decently long patch. I would be very surprised if Blizzard just yeets out Shadowland before the fall. So I think that now is as good a time as any to take a step back, take it easy. I'm not taking a break. I'm still streaming. I'm still having fun, but, just kind of playing the things that feel enjoyable and not doing dailies just because you feel like you have to. I am still keeping up with the assaults because that feels like a good balance between time invested granted and like rep and currencies given. So that seems like a good balance for me for now. In my real life, I have a couple of mildly stressful things to attend to in March. I have an appointment with the accountant tomorrow to file taxes, which is fine. You know, everything's above board, and I was a lot more organized this past year than I have been, so it shouldn't be too bad, but there's still just like a lot to wrangle, and that's always a bit stressful. And then at the end of the month, I have my DMV road test, my first DMV road test, I should say. I have been, if you don't know, I am a student driver. I'm learning how to drive at the ripe age of 27. And am I 27? Am I 28? I'm 27. 92. Yeah, I'll be 28 in September. Anyways, I got my learner's permit in about December, and I've been practicing on weekends ever since then. And I kind of, right now, I'm flipping back and forth between feeling completely, totally, 1,000% ready to ace the road test and indeed drive anywhere because it's not that hard and I'm doing fine. And then the other part of me is like trying to total up the amount of hours I've had and wondering if it was enough, and what if I just lose my cool, and what if, a lot of what ifs, which is very B. So it's gonna be fine, but I'm trying to frame it in my own head to myself as my first road test because lots of people don't pass their first one. There's nothing wrong with that. And even if I don't pass the first one, it'll still be a good experience to kind of get a feel for what the process is like. I really do hope I pass though, just because it took me like 7 weeks and an hour and a half on the phone to get the appointment, and I don't want to do that again. And that brings us to questions for this week. Rue asks, what good is the Cloak Outside Visions? Once you hit 451 or so in gear level, the game's challenge is over. So as you continue to level up your cloak, it's a good question. You are going to get increasing resistance to corruption, like the wearable corruption. So if you keep upgrading your cloak throughout the rest of Shadowlands, presumably by the time we get to about pre-patch time, you're going to be able to wear just a stupid amount of corrupted pieces and do crazy, crazy, crazy damage. And that's kind of nice if there's still content that you're farming or cleaning up or want to do. It'll just help you blow through everything that much more quickly. But if you've kind of accomplished all of your goals for the patch and you're not too worried about doing any more damage than you already do, then you can certainly just kind of get whatever you want from Visions and then leave them alone. There's no hard and fast incentive to keep up with them. Faye asks, what do you think of the auction house overall? Are you still using TSM or Auctioneer? And 2, are you going to make a new add-ons video? So first of all, I love the new auction house overhaul. I adore the new features, and anything that it took away hasn't really affected me. I wasn't much of a stack size flipper. So I use the new auction interface for checking on things that I buy all the time. Like I just set as favorite the enchants that I buy all the time. I set as favorite mounts that I want to keep an eye on the price on, mats that I want to keep an eye on the price on. So whenever I open up the auction house, I can see all of them right there, which is really handy. I also use it for checking to see the prices of battle pets that I don't have because they finally fixed the uncollected filter for that section. I love it a lot. I no longer use Auctionator. I used to use Auctionator for just quickly posting things and then TSM for more in-depth stuff. The updated Auction House UI kind of replaces Auctionator for me, so I got rid of that. I still use TSM, and I use it every day for much the same things I used to. It's nice to see prices in tooltips. It's nice to, organize by groups and sell things, and for mailing and crafting and all that. It has not been replaced at all. But just for real quick buying and selling, the new Auction House interface does everything that I want it to, and I am very pleased with it. As far as the new add-ons video, I do want to do that eventually, but I would be lying if I told you that it was going to be anytime soon, just because I have a very long list of things that I would like to do, and I know myself too well to promise you they're going to happen anytime soon. One that I do want to recommend though is if you like to gather, specifically herbalism, but any kind of gathering I suppose, Farm HUD is something that I've been using on streams recently. It overlays your mini map over the center of your screen so that you can see the nodes over where you're flying, and that's very, 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 very useful. It takes a second to get used to, and you can sometimes forget to blink because all the information you need is in one spot on the screen, but it's great. I love it. And Lisan asks, should I leave creating a new alt class to Shadowlands, or would it be better to max it out now and then play it? So that depends on how bored you are. The correct answer in terms of time invested is to wait. Leveling will be much, much faster after the Shadowlands pre-patch, and any class changes that may be going in will happen then too, so you're not learning a class one way and then having to learn all the changes. However, if it was me, I would start it now because, like I said, it could be a long 8.3. I have no patience, and I really like taking more time to get to know an alt, if that makes any sense. Like, especially if I'm considering switching a main, I want to level it up, I want to play it, I want to come up with 19 different transmog sets, I want to spend the time with them to kind of build that connection with this fictional digital avatar. So that it feels more at home to me when I'm playing it in the next expansion. Leveling will be faster after the pre-patch, but it's already pretty quick now, especially if you have a full set of heirlooms. So it usually takes me on average about 48 hours of played time to get to 120, and that's not too bad. And that has been my week. Thank you guys very much for watching. Fingers crossed for Shadowlands Alpha soon. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer in a vlog, please leave them in the comments of the most recent one. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.